We are back, episode 128, after a wild week. So there was no episode last week. My house flooded. Cenzo's been just buried in his desk in California. But we got a great co-host guest for today, Mike Macch, back in the show. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. Actually, completely forgot your house flooded.
It was rough.
Gosh, that looked brutal. I was loving the updates, though, man, on Instagram.
Dude, I couldn't stop. Like, I was getting to the point where I think I finally stopped for the most part. But it just...
You probably could have vlogged it, to be honest.
I know. It was so nerve-wracking, but at the same time, like, because as it got worse, I'm like, there's no way this water's going to get to the house. And then it started getting closer and closer. I got to update people. Now I'm like, I can't stop here. Yeah. So it was kind of cool. It was cool. I felt people praying for the property. People were reaching out, offering support. People were coming over. And I got a lot of messages. Real quick, I'll dive into that. Let me start the show off with saying this episode is brought to you by our friends at Attack, the app that's changing how wrestlers train. This app features state-of-the-art technology and a state-of-the-art user interface that allows you to train better, work harder, and compete with your friends, teammates, and even enemies. And now by inputting your age and your goals, Attack's new automatic schedule feature sets you up with everything you need to achieve success. With the Attack principles best suited for you, the robust calendar feature helps bring out the best in you. Download Attack in the Apple App Store today. It's ATAC Attack. And be sure to check them out on social. It's atac.app. Big thank you to Attack for continuing to sponsor the show. The app is killing it. They've got some really cool stuff coming up. Be sure to follow them. They have recipes. They have workouts, technique, all sorts of cool stuff. A lot of people can't get that high-level coaching. So to be able to get this, like Mike, I know you said you were just training a couple kids after practice. Like so many people don't get that experience. So an app like this is so cool because it kind of bridges that gap. So go download Attack. Tweet me. Let me know how you're thinking. Maybe we'll get Mike on there and start competing. I know I can't keep up with him, but I need a good challenge. So
that app is doing some really cool stuff, by the way.
It is, man. I'm really, really proud to be associated with those guys. That they're killing it.
Yeah.
So there's a creek out back, and what happened was on one side of my property there's farmland, and it slopes down. It's like 140 acres of farmland. Slopes down. I catch that water. On the other side of me, we have 11 acres. On the other side, it's a couple more 11-acre properties that tilt this way. So it just so happens that naturally the water goes towards my property. Well, the creek, I don't know if it was backed up or what, but it just kept going higher and higher and higher to the point where the creek was at, like, let's say 546 feet, and my basement door for my walkout's like 548. Eventually, the creek rose so much, it started getting closer and closer. And then because the water was close to the house, water kept coming up through the sump pump and now flooding the basement. And everybody I'm reaching out to contractor-wise, they're like, don't worry, you're only going to get an inch or two of water in your basement. I'm like, only an inch or two of water in the basement? Dude, I worked my whole life to build this house. I don't want a drop of water in the basement. So a buddy of mine, Ken, came over, set up a sandbag wall.
Yeah.
We pumped water away from the house. And a lot of people are asking, like, how do you prevent this in the future? Well, first of all, now that we know it gets so bad, we can prevent it. We're gonna do work next year, God willing, put a pool and all that stuff. So we're gonna build a berm, and then where the pool and the patio is, put basically like a 750-gallon tank underneath that area, and then you pump it back to the other side of the berm.
Wow.
So that's the long-term solution. We also are going to get with the neighbors and walk down the creek and try to figure out, is there a blockage somewhere in the creek? Is there a downed tree? Is there something that's causing the creek to back up so much that it's not letting water flow? I mean, we got torrential rain for like 2 days straight. So that wasn't normal by any means. That was like a really odd fluke rain that I don't know if we'll get again. But I'm glad we got it, because now, before we finish the basement, before we put a pool in, before anything else, we know how bad it can get. So now I bought a pump, a 2-inch trash pump, 2-inch hose discharge trash pump that just spews water the direction. So if that thing ever even gets near my house again, nope. We're going to shoot that stuff down to Pennsylvania. Nowhere close to this house.
Nice.
So wild experience. So I was kind of out of commission last week, kind of dealing with catch up with that, and then Cenzo's been just knee deep in
Swan.
test and went to Fargo, came back from Fargo. He's setting up computers. He's doing all sorts of stuff. And we were going to record today. He was still a little bit busy. That's when I'm like, dude, there's only one guy who he's not you, but if we're going to have a guest co-host, let's have Mike on. It's good to catch up with you anyways. I always see you around. I saw you got a new sponsor. What have you been up to before we dive into kind of some news topics?
Yeah, well, one, appreciate you, having me on and fill in. I'm not a Cenzo. You're right about that. Cenzo's the man.
Cenzo's a one of a kind. I told him every time he
man.
can't do it, he's like, dude, just get someone to fill in. I'm like, Cenzo.
Not the same, bro.
It's not. Yeah, I'm like, it's not the same. But if I'm gonna have someone on, you're the man. You got a great wrestling brand, a great wrestling brain, a great wrestling personality. So you're good.
My guy, I appreciate that. So for me, just kind of been traveling. I traveled a good bit. So I went to San Diego. So the RX Smart Gear photo that you saw me post, I went out to San Diego mid-June for a video shoot stuff. Pretty much, they want to break into wrestling a little bit more, and they're huge in the CrossFit space. They're a really, really awesome company, and so I'll have a meeting within the next week or so with them and get a promo code and all that other stuff. And so
Very
I'm
cool.
really excited about that. And their jump ropes are awesome, man. They're as
How'd that deal come about?
so they got a partnership with USA Wrestling.
Got it.
And so they sent a bunch of guys on the USA Wrestling team, ropes and stuff like that. And I just remember being asked if I was interested on just doing like a video shoot for them. And I think they just needed someone on national team or someone wrestling, that they could use. And then I kind of just, Morgan Ray being from USA Wrestling, and I just kind of took that opportunity and ran with it. And then tried to work something out, which we did. And then I went out to San Diego. They paid for my flights, got to stay with some friends, had a good time,
Very cool.
and then got to do this video shoot. So they're going to do, I don't know when all that stuff's coming out, but they want to break into the wrestling market more, which, I mean, and they actually like, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this, but like, I know the sports performance team for like an NBA team out there, like uses their ropes. They can't like sponsor individual players.
Yeah.
But they love their ropes. So like the strength and conditioning staff for this team, they have all the RX Smart Gear ropes and the players using them and stuff like that. But they can't sponsor individual players because agents are like, pay our guys, so.
Yeah.
But they're sweet, man. So I'm really excited about that one.
That's cool, man. And like you said, too, I think a big thing that you just said that many people probably aren't even going to catch on to is just paying for your flight. It's an experience. Yeah. Just to have somebody pay for you to be able to go experience something is so cool. You should always take a brand deal that 100% aligns with you. Nobody should ever take a deal.
They need to be in the shoot also, which was nice.
Yeah. But I know there's some people that could have opportunities to do certain things. And I don't want to call it greed, but I don't think they realize how cool of an opportunity some things are. And I think there's so many cool things that I know there's stuff I still do for lower money than I want or for free or whatever for certain experiences or to be around somebody. If I can do something at a third of my price, but I get this experience or pick this guy's brain for a couple hours, whatever, it's super cool. So I'm cool to see that. That's an awesome experience. I can't wait to see more on that. You'll have to.
I love the company too. Like I got to see the facility. I got to spend time with the owner and the employees there, and we just meshed. We just clicked right out the gate. And so I was like, man, I love being part of this team. It's like it made it even better that like,
yeah,
just had a good time.
Yeah, that's so important to. I've been involved with different companies before on different levels. And I've been a part of teams that I absolutely love being a part of. And I've been involved with people that I'm like, I want nothing to do with this. And if you're not invested in it, especially with athletes, if an athlete's not invested in your company or your brand, it shows. I had a guy reach out to me that wanted some ambassadors and wanted to work with some wrestlers and kind of like you're saying, break into wrestling. And he's like, yeah, I don't know, but some of these guys, once you pay them, they don't do anything. And so I'm like, look, first of all, not a good athlete. And number two, they probably don't like your product, to be honest. Like, if they love your product and they buy in, that's a different story. If they buy into the atmosphere, it's a different story. Yeah. So, well, that's super cool. On the wrestling front, what's been going on to you competition-wise?
Actually going to Hungary for 2 weeks in August 3rd through 17th, but I'm not competing. So I'm actually chaperoning a group of some younger wrestlers that are going to compete in freestyle. And my little brother's actually going on the trip.
Very cool.
So super excited about that. Get 2 weeks to spend with these young guys and get to train with some overseas guys. And then also just get to spend a lot of time with my little brother, which I'm excited about.
Yep. World team trial soon.
Say it again.
World team trial soon.
Yep, world team trials. So just getting ready for that. I was at the last Olympic team camp too, up at Penn State, helping those guys get ready, and that was a good time. Just a lot of good training. Really enjoyed that week and a half. That was end of June till July 7th. So that was a lot of fun. And then, yeah, man. So I just kind of been doing that, man.
Now, what weight are you going to go for the trials?
Say it again.
What weight are you going to go for the trials?
I'm going to go 92 kilos. It's been a rough week and a half for you.
What's that?
They said it's been a rough week and a half for you, huh?
I know, man. All little trivial things, too. Nothing I can even complain about. Just stupid stuff. So we're back. We ran into audio. Actually, we ran into internet issues. Internet sucks here. My Wi-Fi, like, once a week will just completely die.
Who do you have for Wi-Fi?
Spectrum. We have Spectrum internet.
You got to switch to AT&T fiber.
I don't think they have it here. I want fiber. Yeah, I don't think it's here.
If they have it and you get it.
Let me look at it right now. AT&T fiber, Rochester.
Because I think there's a referral, because I just signed up for it like literally this week. And I think if I get someone to sign up, I get like $50.
All right. I'm checking my availability right now, literally, to see if I get fiber.
Let's go. It's actually pretty good. And there's you can get up to 1,000 megabits or something like that. I think I only got 300 for like 10 devices, but
I'm seeing internet, but I'm not seeing fiber. I'll have to do some research. I want fiber optic here. Trust me. I mean, I'm on the internet all day long. I run a marketing company. Like, to have bad internet and Wi-Fi is just terrible. Yeah. So we're back after we lost the Wi-Fi. Talking about you going 92 kilos, it's interesting. One of the reasons why I asked, you went 92 before, right? You only went up to 97 for the Olympic year?
Yep.
So it's interesting because I just put out a article about somebody was asking me who's qualified for the world team trials and who's not. And it's interesting because, obviously everybody who is qualified for the Olympic team trials is qualified. Top 5 senior nationals and the last chance qualifier winner is all qualified. And so I put together a little list on ROKFIN so people can just see. And looking at it, I started thinking, like, this is wild. Because, first of all, so many people are going to change weights. Now that we're back to 10 weights from 6 weights, people are going to be changing. And depending on what happens with who at the Olympics, like, if Dake gets a gold medal, let's just say, everybody at 74 kilos now either has the option of stay home, go 70, or go 79 for the world team trials. And I didn't think about that before. I'm just like, man, everybody's going to have to go up or down if they still want a shot.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. It's going to and people are going to know, obviously, like within the next, week and a half when these guys compete. And so they'll know. But, I mean, I'm sure there's some guys that are like, man, I hope I still can go. Because the cut's probably not fun. Some guys probably think they're too small for the weight class above. So it's like you're going to be like in a pickle regardless. You know what I mean?
And I feel like I could be wrong, but I feel like in this scenario, for the Olympics, you have people who cut and they get their body down for a long period of time. Next year is an Olympic year. You're going down. You can't go 61. You're going 57. Yeah. So you have time. I feel like I think Gilman's gonna medal. I do, and if he
think
medals,
I think we're gonna have a lot of medals, to be honest.
I do too. Gilman's been there before, maybe not in the Olympics, but on the world stage medaling. So I think he's gonna do it. But it's like if he didn't medal, everybody can go 57. If he medals and doesn't win, he's in the semis. If he wins, there's no 57 at the team trials.
Right.
And I'm thinking about this. I'm like, this is wild. Like, okay, so does everybody go up to 61?
Yeah.
You know, and it's going to be interesting. I'm assuming if somebody gold medals at their weight, I don't even think they're going to contest that field. I don't even know why anybody would enter, obviously. You know, It's not like you can go to senior nationals or some of these tournaments if nothing's on the line or you've already qualified. I feel like this is the tournament that if the team spot's gone, you're not even they might not even contest it or have a field.
Yeah. It's interesting. Because you talked about gold medal specifically, but I think it's just if they medal that they're not even going to contest it.
So if they medal, they're in the semis of the bracket.
Okay. All right.
So if Gilman goes out and gets a bronze or silver medal, he's in the semis of 57 kilos.
Okay. Kind of similar to
if he gold medals, then no, they're not contesting at all.
Gotcha.
It's also if they want the spot, which you got to assume most guys are going to want the spot.
Absolutely.
But if you look at a situation like Gable, if Gable just says, I'm done, I'm going WWE, that whole spot's available now. You know, like it's interesting. We've never seen this before where we have the World Championships a couple months after the Olympics.
Yeah, it's a very unique situation for sure. And it's unique. Like each weight class is going to be different. Like you mentioned, Gable talking about, if he wins, does he say, I don't want to go to World Championships. I just want to go WWE, right? That spot's open. So it's like, it's interesting, right? Is every single guy who medals or wins an Olympic gold, are they going to decide that they want to wrestle World Championship? I would imagine that they would, right? But who knows? Maybe a lot changes, right? Because after you win an Olympic gold medal, there's a lot of stuff that you get to do, right? A lot of
We're back after that.
Yeah. Cenzo, when you listen to this is your fault.
Yeah. See, Cenzo broke the great rhythm we had. But
man.
I'm happy for him taking that opportunity in California. He had to do it, but man, he broke the routine. So we're going to dive back right in talking about the Olympics. Before we do, real quick, guys, I might as well tell you that summer is here. Okay, so before we dive back into the conversation, real quick, if you're not ready to unveil your beach bod yet, get ready to unveil it. And thank you to our friends at Manscaped. You're now in luck because they just launched their 4th generation groomer.
Oh, that's nice.
Their performance package, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right. The 4.0. Complement that new summer bod with a trim from the leaders in male grooming. You might not feel you're ready, but you're ready. You just need a little grooming. You just need a little manscaping. So the 4.0, the sun is shining. It's calling your name. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaping. Get ready for hot guy summer. Don't know how I feel about that, but get ready for it.
Summer. Nice.
By going to manscaped.com and saving 20% off and free shipping with the code Cenzo. Even though he's not here today, the code works. Code Cenzo, Cenzo. It's time to bundle up with the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker, which is great for the ears and nose, real quick. Crop Preserver deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance Boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies. It's amazing. Everything you need to stay fresh below the belt. As the saying wrestling goes, look good, feel good, wrestle good. This is the summer to splurge, and not even just grooming, but this is hygiene. This is important. So these tools are waterproof, and you can take them right in the shower with you. The Lawnmower 4.0 has a 4,000K LED spotlight to turn off when you need a more precise shave. The Weed Whacker's waterproof. Everything's waterproof. Don't be lazy.
The Weed Whacker? What's the Weed Whacker?
The Weed Whacker's this thing. It's great, dude. Okay. It's just, you just... And it keeps you fresh. Super
like the COVID swab.
Easier because you don't feel this. This is just a little This is just a little tickle on the bottom. Just a little,
nice.
just a little tickle. So, guys, don't be lazy with grooming this summer. Go to manscaped.com. Get the performance package. Use the promo code Cenzo, CENZO, for free shipping and 20% off. You will not be sorry. These things are great. I love them. So getting back to what you were saying, just before it cut out, what you're saying was interesting. You're saying that when you win the Olympics, you also have different opportunities you're not used to.
Yes. Yeah.
Continue with that.
Yeah. So, I mean, some of these guys, right? Like, I mean, I'm sure, I would imagine that everybody who medals or wins gold is going to want to compete in the World Championships. I'll be very surprised if no one doesn't. Maybe the only person, Gable, for other like WWE opportunities or something like that. But I feel like everybody else will want to compete in World Championships. But then again, you never know. You don't know what type of opportunities are going to arise. You know, I'd imagine 2012 after JB won, he probably had opportunities like crazy, almost like a tour. I would imagine.
Well, and that's
crazy, you know what I mean? Then winning an NCAA championship, right? People go camps, clinics, they're doing podcast interviews, the whole nine. Except I would imagine the same thing, except amplified even more.
But NCAA's is like 3 days and it's done.
Right.
Like you win the NCAA's and 3 days later, you're just a college athlete.
Right.
Like
this is a whole nother ball
like
game.
when Burroughs won it in 12, he was on show after show, doing interview, doing campaigns. So it's going to be interesting because the timing is so tight where if you win it, you have an opportunity to do something nobody's ever done before. Nobody's ever won the Olympics and the World Championships in the same year because it's never happened before. So you have that opportunity to do that. But
what about Snyder's?
That wasn't the same year. He won Worlds in 15, Olympics in 16, and then there was no Worlds after that. Because the Olympics got pushed back to 2021, that's why they happened in the same year. When you had before, the only thing you had was, I think in 16, they had a non-Olympic weights world championships. So if you compete in the Olympics, you weren't competing in this.
Gotcha.
So this is because of the 1 year Olympics delay. So it's a very unique opportunity, but it's going to, and when I post about the world team trials, there's a couple foreigners that follow me that would be like, we don't care about this. This is Olympics. So I'm wondering what the vibe's going to be if like, you know, like there's almost a notion around like the worlds for non-Olympic weights during Olympic year. It's like some will say, there's an asterisk. It's 61 kilos. You know, it's not an Olympic weight. There's talk around it.
Right.
And I'm wondering if that's what these foreign guys are going to say. Like, it's all about the Olympics. Win or lose, that's what it was about. So it's going to be interesting to see what the vibe is like. You know, looking at our team, if Gilman wins, I see him wanting more. If Dake wins, I see him wanting more. Taylor, I see him more. Same with Snyder. These guys never back down from a challenge. Gable's the only one, if he has that WWE opportunity. I don't know what that looks like. Because for WWE, that means he would also probably not be going back to college for one more year, which I know he's undecided on.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. It's also going to be interesting to see what guys that are in the field are thinking for, like, are the 57 kilo guys watching to say, my only shot might be to go to 61. You know, or
there's definitely athletes that are doing that, right? Like it's waiting, right? They have a preference of where they want to compete. And I don't know who specifically, but there's no doubt in my mind that there's definitely people who are in that position, right? Or thinking that way. Because it's like for them, their best chance might be at a weight. It might be the easiest cut or the most ideal, where they're most competitive, right? So, I mean, I would imagine that there are competitors that have thought about that and are kind of thinking that way.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, you know, another note on Gable real quick, I tweeted it out, but like his stock continues to go up so high. He's almost doubled his social media following since the NCAAs. And that's just wild because he has such a big audience and everybody's buying in. WWE is buying in. Mainstream sports media buying in. And I think I was just having a conversation with somebody the other day about it. I think the Olympics, if Gable wins, regardless of what else happens, I think the news and the story is Gable. I think this, no matter what, and there could be big stories. If Taylor beats Yazdani again, Gilman's, I think, looking at the betting lines, Gilman's the farthest. He's plus 500 on the betting lines right now. You bet $100 on Gilman to win a gold medal, you win 1,500. Which, by the way, I'm taking that bet. I'm betting that like that.
Yeah,
I like that line, but like Gable right now, despite how many stories, because of his tie to WWE, because of his future potentially in UFC, that is such a story that everybody can get behind. The college kid who's in college is on this just fast track. You have the WWE wishing him, well wishes in the Olympics. Like, even if Snyder comes back and repeats, I don't think that'll be as high in the news interest as Gable winning.
Yeah. Nah, that is, I mean, they're all very valid points. I think too, the WWE is it's massive in just entertainment in general. And I think that's a big part of what you're saying, right?
Yep.
I think that plays a huge, it's like a big part of like what would make that happen, right? You got guys Roman Reigns, Cena. I mean, think about all the people in WWE and who are there, and then who have gone on from it to do things like Dwayne the Rock Johnson, right? Like, it's that it's worldwide, right? It's a huge company, and there's a lot of people that have done a lot of really good things. Batista, right?
Yeah,
the Galaxy, right? I mean, list goes on of just like what type of what's the word I'm thinking of?
I don't know what the word, but Gable has said to me, like, from a standpoint of his future, he doesn't just want to wrestle. He wants to use it as a platform to become a movie star.
Right.
He's not some WWE geek that just nerds out about wrestling like some of us do. Like, he wants to use it to springboard to even bigger and better things. And, there's a lot of people who don't.
I think that's very smart.
It is. And there's a lot of people who don't understand how media works from a standpoint of like, people will cry about Flow when they don't do Greco or even certain women's wrestling stuff. Like, anybody who's putting content out and putting news stories out is watching the reaction. Like, when people cry about, let's say, Greco, but then you do something and it gets very little traction. And you're like, well, this is why we can't put our resources there. You want to go for the big story. You want to go with what gets clicks, what gets eyeballs. And to your point of WWE being so
viewers, just fans, right?
And with WWE being so big, that's what they want. Like, that's WWE's huge. So that storyline of the young kid accomplishing what he is, NCAA champion, blows through the trials. Now he's, as of right now, he's plus 200 to win. So you bet 100, you win 200, which is wild because Snyder right now is plus 450. So you have Kyle Dake's minus 182, David Taylor's minus 155, Snyder's plus 450. So you win double the money if you bet on Snyder than Gable right now. So they're saying there's almost more than a 2-to-1 shot Gable's going to win a gold more than Snyder.
Wow.
And I think part of that is those lines are changing as people are betting and the books move. And I think people are betting on Sedulayev, and that moves Snyder down. So it goes to show you how many people are invested in this story because they're betting on it. Even if they don't, I think you're going to get people who, let's say a WWE fan who might bet on Gable because they know he's going to be WWE superstar. I'm like, they're putting money behind him. It's nuts. He went all the way to like plus 160, which is pretty wild for junior in college to win the Olympics.
Yeah.
Like, that's nuts.
That is nuts. That is nuts. But I think that's so. Snyder won in 2016.
Yep.
Did he redshirt? Did he Olympic
Yes.
redshirt?
I
Or
believe
did he win NCAA's? That's the year he beat Gwiz. He beat Gwiz in the NCAA finals and then went on to win a gold medal that summer.
did he? I couldn't remember. Yes, I think they pulled his red shirt, right?
Yeah, he did. I remember it was late in the year, and I remember because I was watching the match and I was devastated, right? Because that's Gwiz is my guy.
Yeah.
That's my freaking guy. And yeah, it was a couple months later that he won the Olympics. He beat Gwiz in overtime, and then he won the Olympics later that summer, which I guess makes it sting a little less.
I mean, you can only get so mad. Obviously, you get upset, and I get that.
Sure,
but
sure,
if
Gwiz has gone on to do phenomenal things. He's two-time world medalist. I mean, he's been the guy for multiple years in a row, and he's still world class. You know, so
and he's young.
He's going to continue to have success. You know, so and but yeah, I mean, that's you don't want to finish your college career that way, but it is what it is. Guy risked it, took a shot. He went out on his shield, you know. So I think he lives with it fine, you know. But I think Snyder, yeah, I'm pretty sure Snyder won 2016 both NCAA's and Olympic gold.
That wouldn't surprise me. I'm looking it up right now. I know
because he was gray shirting. Because I know, yeah, he got pulled out last.
Yeah, that was 2016. Yep. Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, listen, if Snyder beats Sedgulayev, that's going to be a monster story too. Unfortunately, because there's no UFC WWE tie, it's not going to get the coverage it should.
Right, because WWE is going to be posting about Gable.
Yep. And when WWE posts, that means other people want to post about it because it's more, you're going to get more attention, more eyeballs. So, yeah, I'm pumped for the Olympics. They start, I think, Saturday. I think Saturday night at like 10 a.m. our time, Eastern, they start. So that's going to be good. It's been fun watching these betting lines move. There's some real steals there. Listen, if you have the means to throw down money on Gilman, I love those odds.
Absolutely.
$100 on Gilman and you win $1,500 when he wins gold. Yeah. I love that. And I'm glad this is being recorded. So when he does it, I can say, I told you all, you would all be $1,500 richer if you listen to me.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fun. A couple other things going on. Minor thing, brands.
I think all those guys are going to medal, to be honest. I think this team is going to do really well.
Nobody on that team would surprise me medaling.
I think everybody's going
nobody.
Phenomenal.
I mean, you've got Snyder, who's already got world and Olympic gold. You got Gable, who we just talked about. David Taylor has already beat Yazdani. Kyle Dake is minus 182 right now for a reason. He's got some studs in that weight, and he's favorited to win the weight on some of the sports books. Like, that goes to show you how dang good he is.
Right.
So, and he had to beat a 5-time world and Olympic champ just to get there.
Right.
So, and then you have Gilman, who he's been in the finals of a world championship match before. So none of the guys medaling, our women are just studs. I mean,
oh yeah.
Tamara Mensah she's like minus 225. She's the biggest favorite out of all of our Olympians competing. She's the biggest favorite to win. You have to bet 225 to win 100 on her.
Wow.
That's what a favorite she is.
Yeah. She's a beast, man.
Yeah.
All those girls, they're studs. All those women.
Yeah. I can't wait to watch it.
I think the amount of success USA Wrestling's had like in the past decade has been really, really awesome to see. Just like the amount of growth, right? From 2012 all the way up till now. And then the depth has grown tremendously too.
Look at the cadet. First women's world championship as a team ever.
Yeah.
Like, it's only growing and it's trickling down.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's definitely an exciting time for USA Wrestling for sure.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I can't wait to watch.
Same.
Some other smaller news stuff. Brands is not leaving Iowa. He got a contract extension through 2028.
I saw that.
Not really a surprise, but I'm happy for him. That's good for Iowa. Everybody loves the staples. Nick Suriano. I don't know if you followed this saga. I feel like if you're in the sport of wrestling, you have to follow the Suriano saga. Yeah. So last week, he entered the transfer portal and put out a video on Instagram of a globe spinning with Sinatra playing, which I'm assuming means World Team Trials. And the transfer portal, I put on an article on it. My best guess is I think he's just going to transfer to Arizona State. I think Perry and Zeke are going to convince him to help Arizona State have a better shot of winning a national championship as a team. He's training with Perry. He's been out there for like a year now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what his next move is, but it looks to me like he might be heading to Arizona State. I know it's not a given, but.
So he had NCAA eligibility this year?
1 year left, I believe. Yeah.
Gotcha. But he decided not to compete. Or did he Olympic redshirt?
He Olympic redshirted last year. And then he had this year of eligibility left. He's got 1 year left, I believe.
Gotcha.
So
if Arizona State picks him up, that'll be huge for them.
Yeah, and I think that would mean he would go 133 too. I think with Brandon Courtney at 125, who's NCAA finalist this year, you know, I don't think you'd bump Brandon Courtney up. I think you'd bump Suriano up. Not even bump him up. I mean, he just won an NCAA championship 2 years ago at that weight. Yeah. So I feel like that would be a natural fit.
He could. He's a beefcake. I feel like he could.
Yeah.
He has no problem putting on mass or muscle.
No, he's jacked.
He's a brick.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what he does. I hope he announces it soon. You got to believe with him training for I'm not an athlete, but correct me if my thought process is wrong. World Team Trials are less. Sounds like my internet provider. So the World Team Trials are in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
He's not going to make a change before that. He's with Mark Perry. Mark Perry's his coach through the World Team Trials at a minimum.
Yeah.
You know, he's in his mindset has to believe he's winning the World Team Trials, if not at 57, at 61. And then he'll compete in the World Championships a month later or whenever. I think it's middle of October or something. I can't remember. So I feel like it would be a hard time to make a move to another school. Like,
it's early. Like, World Championships or World Team Trials is in September.
Yep.
The season doesn't start until what, November?
November is like when competition, I think, starts like end of November. Yeah.
I mean, he's got time.
But it'd be weird if you'd basically have to wait until after the national or after the World Team Trials to say, hey, I'm going to go to this school.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nothing would surprise me with Suriano. Nothing. But I feel like the cards are on the table to just stick around Arizona.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on like nothing would surprise you. Like I don't know him very well. I've talked to him, once or twice at some tournaments and the casual conversation. But I don't know him like crazy well, so I can't speak on behalf or for him,
Yeah, no, it's good. Look, I think anytime you have a little bit of mystique is good for the sport. I think kind of wondering what he's going to do. And look at Arizona State's got a nice squad. If he goes over there, and Perry and Zeke are very competitive guys. So if they're in his ear, like just stay out here, help the college program. Let's try to win a national championship. It could be interesting. Did you watch Cadets much? I didn't watch much of it. I watched Bo Bassett. That kid's a freaking little hammer.
Yeah, he is. I didn't get to watch any of it, unfortunately, but I saw like highlights and clips and I was following updates. But I didn't get to see any matches, but definitely on Twitter, following Facebook.
I got to start following. Our youth is so good.
So good. And I mean, Spencer Lee was a cadet, right? World medalist. Gable was cadet world medalist, wasn't he? Or no?
Yeah, I want to say he won a cadet world championship and then won 2 juniors, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, that says a lot about his future. And I know I was just talking to someone yesterday about, I've told the story a lot in this podcast about how because I wrestled, you're a casual fan, you watch NCAAs, me and Cal started working together at my marketing company. And then I started following what Cal was doing and the college guys. And then as I started working with some of the college guys and I become friends with so many of you, I start really following your careers and getting up at 3 a.m. to watch you compete in Turkey, and following you guys in the college is where like I'm primarily a fan. I've never really been a fan of youth wrestling, but the tie-ins are so obvious because you start following them younger, you get to watch more. You get to watch them longer. I just have to start like getting into it because, you know, a kid like Bo is so freaking good. And to be able to start watching that career now or a year or two ago.
Fans too, it seems like.
What's that?
He's already got a lot of fans now, it seems like.
He does, man. He's a little brand powerhouse. He's over there tweeting out PR articles and giving updates. And I think guys older than him can look to him as an example of like, you know, he posted out a picture of the local newspaper while he was still in Budapest. He's, you know, like
I think problem is though, some of the guys that don't post just don't care.
I know.
You know, it's just not even a priority for them. You know, it's just not even an interest. Like it doesn't matter, you know?
I know. And, you know, for a kid like Bo, it's going to be interesting because the bigger he builds his audience now, he'll be able to leverage it in college, whereas like you guys weren't able to.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's also, I've talked with many people who don't want that distraction. They don't want to deal with the brand building. They want to gamble on themselves winning a gold medal and then taking care of, you know, whatever happens. And you see with even our Olympic gold medalists, there's a big difference in what people do between Burroughs, Snyder, Varner. If you look at those three alone, three very different paths. Yeah. You have Burroughs, who's like, you know, he's at 700,000 followers on Instagram. Yeah. He's the face of wrestling. You have Snyder, who isn't really on social, but he's got a presence because of his partners, because of Rudis and others.
Right.
They're leveraging that, which is a whole nother separate conversation. But, and then you have Varner, who, you know, won his Olympic gold. He didn't get too many deals, but he's very happy. He's got like 27 kids. He's loving life, you know, like he's very happy. And it's like, I know he's happy, Snyder's happy, and Burroughs is happy. Yeah. So you have to do what's best for you as a brand and marketing guy. I think you guys work so hard. I love when you benefit from your hard work. So that's why I always stress it. Like, put in the work.
I encourage it too, you know, just because there's a lot of value there that's just left on the table, right? A lot of opportunity that people could have if they took advantage of it. You know, you got pinky up, man.
Especially for the guys, by the way, that don't win.
Right.
Because so many guys tell me, like, I'm talking to guys at the height of their career, and it's like, when I win an Olympic gold, when I win a world gold. But what if you don't? If you don't, like, that's a big gamble. You should believe in yourself, and you should
absolutely, you have to believe in yourself.
You should bet on yourself. But look at how many wrestlers are vying for a spot, like even for Olympic gold. 5 guys on the men's freestyle scene are like, it's like a pyramid and kind of upside down. But like as you get higher and higher, less and less guys. Those tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 guys, there's still a lot of brand opportunity, right? Yeah. You're not on the Olympic team, but there's companies wanting to work with you because you're still at a high level when it comes to wrestling.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of opportunities for guys out there. So it's going to be interesting to watch these college guys right now. It's going to be interesting to watch the Bo Bassett's and the next generation come up. And, you know,
I think it just helps the sport also. Like the more guys at senior level and stuff take advantage of these opportunities and build these partnerships and stuff and build their brands, you get younger kids that are in the sport that one might be inspired or one might start to dream about, oh, I want to be good at wrestling because I see this guy did XYZ and now I want to take that path. Right. Yep. And so like, there's more incentive because there's more opportunity. Right.
And I think too, it's more exposure for the sport.
Absolutely.
So like Nick Lee is not a very big, I want to go on social kind of guy, but he was just on a car dealership commercial. Killer commercial. And people get to see him now. It's exposure for him. Excuse me. It's an exposure for wrestling. It's great. And that kind of stuff, like, wait a minute, if I'm an NCAA champion, I can be in a car commercial. I can do this. I can do that. Like, it's super cool to see these opportunities. I pray and hope they don't get distracted. You know, like I do a lot of work with Roman. We're about to launch his website.
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
I keep telling him, like, I love this. Just stay focused. Just do what you're doing in moderation on the brand side, and don't get distracted by it. If you can get some money to help you with training and to provide for yourself, that's amazing. So I'm excited by it. I love everything that's happening with the brands.
I ask you, what do you think about the new NIL and all that?
I love it. I don't want anybody to get distracted. That's my only thing. But I'm watching.
Do you think athletes will get taken advantage of?
Yes, but I think
there's you know what I mean. Like,
I think both. I think you're going to have athletes getting taken advantage of, and I think you're going to have companies getting taken advantage of. Because I think there's going to be athletes who don't understand what the commitment's like. This isn't a handout just to use your image. Within wrestling, what's going to happen is you have to work to some degree, whether it's going to do a shoot in San Diego, whether it's going to Indiana to do a car dealership commercial, whether it's promoting your apparel, whether it's posting content for somebody working with you. I think it's within wrestling, especially, it's a good opportunity to work hard. But for some of these kids who think they're just going to go print some T-shirts and make a bunch of money, now you got to deal with customer service. Now you got to deal with getting it out. Now, what if you sent Susie in Indiana the wrong size, and you got to coordinate getting her the right size? Are you going to give her the old shirt? You going to take it back?
3 weeks longer than it should have taken.
Correct. So I think on both sides, I think within wrestling, I don't think wrestlers are going to get taken advantage of too much. And I don't think companies, I think what I've seen so far, it seems to be very mutually beneficial. I've seen some of the numbers. They make sense. I think it's very fair on both sides. I was talking to a car dealership about kind of middling a deal that I think makes sense for both of them. And I was very honest about it, like telling the wrestler, this could be really good for you. This is just, let's just say, for example, a car dealership leases you a car and you go and post a couple times a month. You don't have a car payment now. And for the dealership, it's like, what's one lease?
Right.
Give them a freaking car. Who cares? Lease it. You can't buy that type of advertising.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be mutually beneficial, but I do think it's hard work. And there's a lot of wrestlers I've seen that it's not that they want a handout, but they're used to being so laser focused on training. And I think the wrestlers that have like good grades and can focus on other stuff than just being diligent in the room, I think those are the ones that are going to have a lot of success with it. And I don't think anybody's going to get rich off it, but I think you're going to be able to learn. I think you're going to come out of competition or out of college with more experience and a bit more of that. I know that for me, anytime I've failed, I've learned a lot from. So if some of these college athletes lose on the brand side of things, I think they'd be better off not only in life, but if they become more successful after college, now they've got some experience. Part of the reason Burroughs is where he is in the brand side is because of deals that went bad or things that he had, like a falling out with Cage Fighter back 7-8 years ago.
Wow.
He's gone through a couple different agents. There's things he's learned on the brand side that have made him even better at where he is now. So I think if these college athletes can start experiencing some of those losses, they're only going to be wiser. If there's, let's just say Roman gets completely taken advantage of right now, but he makes a 2024 Olympic team and he's got a bunch of deals coming and this and that. He's more head savvy.
Right. Yeah. In the long run, it's actually helping him.
Right. So I love it. I'm excited to keep watching it unfold.
No, that's really good stuff.
Yeah, I think too that anybody listening that wants to seek that stuff out, just you have to look at it as an opportunity. It's an opportunity to grow your brand, but it's an opportunity to really, I'm sure like doing that car dealership commercial was a totally new experience for Nick Lee.
Mm.
You know, he's used to working very hard in the wrestling room and he's used to working very hard in the classroom.
Yeah.
This is a new world. Having to deal with the camera crew, you just dealt with it. It's not always the easiest.
Yeah. Thankfully, the people that I was working with, man, they were awesome. They were awesome. That whole crew was awesome. We had a good time. The shoot was fun. We were there from like 9:30 to like 5 in the afternoon.
Those are long days, man.
Long.
I've been on the camera side of that stuff, like directing.
Blast. Yeah. But it's a lot. It's a lot. And sometimes if you're not lucky enough, like the crew might be a little, let's go. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
Thankfully, I was with a group of people that were awesome.
I can't wait to see it, man. I'm pumped.
I'm excited, man. I don't know when the video or when some of the rest of the other content's dropping, but I mean, they seemed really excited about the stuff that they were getting. And so I'm excited to see it too.
You'll have to keep me posted when you get your promo code.
Yeah,
we'll share that out on Baschamania. We'll get some. I know I'm gonna go get a couple.
And they're good ropes. They're good ropes, man. You really can't beat them.
Yeah,
customize them. You can customize them. You can get different prints on the handles. That's
pretty cool.
There's a bearing in the handle, so the rope is made out of this material that like almost cuts through air very easily. They got a speed rope, they got a regular rope, they got a heavy rope, they got a drag rope that's just an actual rope.
Yeah.
I don't know what the material of the regular ropes are, but the rope is connected to the handle and it's like ergonomically designed. It's really easy to grab. And then that's my dog whining. So
I got my office door shut. You'd hear mine too. They never stop.
And there's a bearing, almost like in a skateboard wheel. They have the bearings, right? Yeah. It's a bearing. You can spin the handle, and it just goes for like 3 to 5 minutes. And depending on which rope you get, like almost like 7 minutes. It's crazy. But it's just they're nice, man. They're quality ropes.
Oh, I'm gonna get some. You have me sold. Anybody listening, if you're not already following Mike, you're missing out big time. But now here's like your warning. Like this is your official, like, go follow him. This is like your like awakening. He's on Instagram. I think Twitter too. It's Mike_Macch, right? MACCH.
Yep.
So go make sure you're following Mike. You still have any merch available? I was just wearing your white Macch tee.
Yeah. So I got to go back and look. Whatever merch they have available, I don't know if they're. So actually, I'm waiting to hear back from Takedown on the next drop and stuff like that. But they've actually been they've had a lot of changes. They just dropped this new athleisure line. They've just actually sent some stuff to Paige Vincent. What's her name? I can't remember.
I know the fighter.
Yeah, her.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Now and then some guy named Mickey Gall or something like that. Some UFC.
Yeah. Yep. I know the name.
Jersey guy, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's his name. And so like they're waiting to get back to me on whether or not I can put some stuff on the new athleisure wear or not. So we'll see. Just waiting to hear back from Takedown. But hopefully it pans out. So
sweet. I'm excited, man. I was bummed I didn't get that white crew neck.
Yeah, man.
I waited too long.
I'll follow up with them, man. I'll see if they can send me whatever they have left over.
I was bummed that I got the tee, but I didn't get the crew neck in time. That thing was fresh.
Man, I still got to get my Coffee Talk shirt, man.
Dude, text me your address.
I haven't even ordered it yet. I keep forgetting.
Text me. By the way, speaking of Coffee Talk t-shirts.
Yeah.
Last week or 2 weeks ago, because we didn't do an episode last week, I put out a message at the very end of the podcast that said, if you guys are still listening, like, I really appreciate you. Like, this is like final seconds and you're still listening. And I said, screenshot, leave a review for the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Screenshot it, send me it. I'm going to pick some of you and send you a t-shirt. I didn't think that many people were going to do it. I just sent out 2 days ago, maybe Friday. We sent out like a dozen shirts.
Wow.
So for people listening that listen to that, thank you. A dozen of you are getting merch in the mail. I've already gotten tagged in some stuff, so I know it's starting to hit. But yeah, dude, send me your address. We'll get you hooked up. I talked to Cenzo about this.
Cenzo, back on.
I want to get a couple of athletes in a Baschamania singlet.
That'd
be
cool.
Because I need like some more artwork. I think it'd be cool to have like somebody competing and then you frame that shot in the office.
Almost like a jersey.
Yeah, that'd be super
Very
cool.
much like a jersey framed, right?
Yeah. Roman, I think, is going to do a very limited drop of a jersey.
That's awesome.
And he's going to have our logo on there. So
It'd be cool to have like some gear that is actual like a jersey, almost like a baseball jersey or something like that.
That's basically what he's doing. It's fresh. It's really fresh. And he's only making like 50. I said, nah, 49 now.
Like, dude, one of those right out the gate.
Right. I'm like, I think we're gonna put the Bash Solutions logo on it since we did his website. So I'm like, dude, if you do that, like that's an instant office, like that's an office for lifer.
Yeah. That's
smooth. It's sick. That's smooth. All right, man. Well, that's pretty much all I got. You have anything else?
No, man. I think that's it for me too, man.
All right. Well, listen, thank you for filling in for Cenzo today.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Always a pleasure to chat with you. I love your excitement, man. As soon as I text you, it's just like, yo, and it's instant. Yeah. It's like, I knew you were doing that camp last week when I texted you.
Yeah.
Because we were going to try to get an episode out and it was just chaos. And I'm like, I don't know if he's going to answer. I know he's like teaching kids. He's got the camp. And it was like instant. Like, what up, my man? I'm like, oh, this is why I love him. So thank you. I'm sure it won't be the last time you're on, man. And again, for anybody not following him, go follow him. He's a joy to follow. It's Mike_Macch. And we'll link that below in the thing. So, all right, guys, that's Baschamania episode 128. He's Mike. I'm Justin. Thank you for listening.